Hello everyone, this is an explainer video on American Revolution Part 2, brought to you by Navodaya Foundation, Mysuru. Till now, we have understood the political, economic and legislative circumstances and developments which forms the background for American Revolution. And the immediate cause for the revolution was the imposition of stamp tax, wherein all business transactions were taxed, which caused resentment among American settlers, and some even went to the degree of physically assaulting the stamp tax collectors. Now, we will understand American Revolution in various phases in which it was unveiled. The first event was Massachusetts Assembly, which happened against the Stamp Act of 1765. And here, the leaders gave the slogan, "No taxation without representation." That is, no taxation without representation, which implied that within British Parliament, American settlers do not have any representation, and thus British Parliament does not have any right to tax Americans. The British government responded to this by repealing the Stamp Act, but it began imposing tax on tea, which was imported by America. So they removed one tax and imposed another one. This enraged Americans even further. Now, the second event can be understood on the backdrop of the tax that was imposed on tea. The second event is called as Boston Tea Party of 1773, wherein ships which had imported tea, for which new taxes were imposed, were dumped into the sea by Americans. This incident is famously called as Boston Tea Party. This angered the British government and it closed the entire Boston port itself, which thus prevented all imports into the American continent. The next and the third event was Philadelphia Congress of 1774, in which representatives of 13 American colonies met together as a group, and it was called as First Continental Congress. Here the Americans proclaimed themselves as independent of British rule, and here it was announced that British government can neither impose any taxes nor implement any policy like that of agriculture, industry and transport, which we have seen earlier on Americans and American continent. This enraged the British government, who responded militarily by sending troops to suppress the revolution. But Americans were prepared and had planned for defense, and in 1775, first battle of American Revolution happened, in which Americans defeated the British forces. The next and the last event was Second Continental Congress, which happened in 1776, and in this American representatives gave the famous Declaration of Independence. With the proclamation, all men are created equal, and Creator endowed them with inalienable rights of life and liberty and pursuit of happiness, which was very famous. And after this declaration, the War of Independence happened, in which George Washington commanded the American forces. And it should be noted that America received help from France in their struggle in terms of funds, troops and supplies and so on. And finally, Americans were victorious. And in 1783, Treaty of Paris was signed, where British accepted their defeat and recognized that 13 colonies which earlier came under British rule as independent. Thus, with the Treaty of Paris of 1783, American Revolution ended, and in 1789, America adopted a constitution which was first written Republican Constitution of the modern world. With this, we can conclude the explainer on American Revolution. Hope you have understood the American Revolution. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.